to this informational webinar on the topic, the career opportunities for the legal professionals in the field of the securities market. Firstly, I hope that you all are safe and healthy. Reason again, the COVID-19 things are there. And I must thank you all for joining this webinar to learn more about the career options in the field of the securities market. Before beginning this webinar, I would just like to inform you that we have conducted the similar webinars in the past, and details of which are available on the YouTube. You just need to type NISM LLM and then you will get all the recordings. And all your basic queries related to our LLM program has been answered in the previous webinars. So today I request you to take benefit of our panelists and ask your questions or queries related to the career opportunities. And after the finishing this webinar at 3, we will take some questions on the examination and other thing. And I'm also joined by our placement head, that is the Sahil Malik, for answering your queries related to the placement and other things. So now I am delighted to inform you about our eminent panelists. Firstly, we have with us Madam Seema Nayak, Ms. Seema Nayak, who is serving NCDEX in the capacity of the Chief Compliance Officer, and it's responsible for exchange compliance, member compliance, membership, inspection, investor protection, and enforcement. She has an experience of more than 20 years in the field of the securities market. She has started her career with the OTC Exchange of India, after which she served the National Stock Exchange for a period of around 16 years. In her previous role, she has handled a wide spectrum of functions, including investigation, business development, and others. So I welcome you, ma'am, to this panel.
Thank you.
Now I have pleasure to introduce our second panelist, Mr. Anil Chaudhary, who is partner of FinSec Law Advisor. And many of you may be knowing him as he is connected with the most of the law universities through the various activities. And Anil Chaudhary, sir, is a partner and with the FinSec Law Advisor, a specialized law firm at Mumbai, with substantial experience of areas of the capital markets and securities law. He practices securities law and investment law, both in advisory and litigation. And he holds an LLM degree from Harvard and BA LLB honors degree from NALSA. At Harvard, his primary focus was on securities and finance regulation. He is a qualified advocate admitted to practice both in India as well as in New York. He has also co-authored one very good book, which we also use, that is the Law Relating to Primary Market Offering. He is interested in the law and policy related to financial market, securities market. I welcome you, sir, to this panel.
Thank you.
And now we also, I feel delighted to inform you about our third panelist, Ms. Shruti Rajan, who is a partner at the eminent law firm, Trilegal. She specializes in the areas of the financial services regulation. Her legal expertise spans a wider spectrum from market entry, innovation, compliance, advisory, governance, and risk assessment to internal investigation, enforcement, and dispute. She has extensive experience, includes advising regulated entities and listed companies on regulatory risk identification, managing conflict of interest, and other related areas. She is representing her clients or the client of the Trilegal before the SEBI, SAT, and the Supreme Court. She has completed her law degree from the NLU Kolkata, and she has all the important cases and important clients she has served. So, and she has been recognized as among the top 500 advocates who are offering the services, financial services, regulatory practices in 2022. So I welcome you, ma'am, on this panel.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me.
So, all three of them are our visiting faculty also, along with being the visiting faculty of the Mumbai Law in Mumbai University and other universities. So during our presentation, I will be interacting with the panelists and asking questions asked by you. I request you to kindly ask the relevant questions related to the basic information and the topic which we are discussing. So, and the time, we will strictly abide by the time which is like given for this webinar. So my first question, madam, to Ms. Seema Nayak, that what are the career opportunities in the field of financial market for the legal professionals, and what requires actually to succeed in the field of the securities market?
Well, this is a very exciting time to be in the securities market. The retail participation is picking up. The asset classes are on the increase. Entrepreneurship is on the rise. And there's this jaw-dropping untapped potential in the commodities space. All in all, it makes this industry look very, very promising. Now, whenever this kind of transition happens in any industry, it means that you rewrite the rule book, right? You rewrite the existing rule book, you write new rules for the markets to align with the changing panorama. So you see the landscape of regulations currently is increasing rapidly, and this is a huge opportunity for legal professionals. Depending on where your interest lies, you could either be rule making or you could be enforcing these rules. And this trend of the ever expanding regulatory and enforcement agenda is here to stay. So not only are the regulators going deeper, but they're also cutting across horizontally across the various aspects of business. So all I can say is, welcome aboard, lawyers. Join us in the ride. This is not going to be there's not going to be a boring moment here.
So thank you, ma'am. Now I'm putting the same question to our second panelist, Anil Chaudhary, sir, who is also heading a team of young legal professionals. So please tell us, sir, the role of the legal professionals and mainly in the securities market. Anil, sir.
As in, for us, I think financial market is something which is always evolving. It can never stay stable. It can never be the same. If you see, if you practice what you call a regulatory practice, which is advising clients on financial market, be it semi-regulated insurance, or for that matter, RBI issues, the laws are always evolving. With the current state of fintech or financial and technology, that is the two, you combine both together, and there comes a lot of new issues that are coming up, new regulatory frameworks are coming up, new startups are coming up. They all need people who are lawyers, because everything requires a structuring, that whether you can do this, whether I can do that, what are the roadblocks on doing a transaction this way or other way. Because see, fintech with technology and financial markets being so intertwined, and it's a very great time for people who are legal professionals in this particular field of law. See, I always say that securities law, not being all financial market law, securities law, because SEBI itself is a code. It is a SEBI, it is also, it does investigation, it does adjudication, it does judgment also passes. It's a jury execution, I call SEBI. It is one of the most powerful organizations in the world, if you call one entity which has so much power with respect to financial markets are concerned. So if you are practicing the securities market, it is as specialized as practicing tax. Not everyone can do tax. If you practice securities law, then it is a specialized practice. And generally now markets, the legal space and the both at the professional level, at when you are acting as a lawyer or you become a in-house counsel, you need specialist people who understand these things. So doing LLM at NISM on securities law will be a good fillip for all your students who are interested in this subject. See, if you are interested in the subject of financial security market, there's huge space, and you can never catch up with the law. Law changes every day. For us, every day we go to SEBI website and go through. Even at this 15 years, I've been doing the same thing. Go to SEBI website, see what all orders have come, what changes have come, and every day it's new. If you don't catch up for like a month, you'll be lagging behind. So for us professionals, we have to be on the toes. And now markets understand that it's not only securities market is not just another piece of law. You see, earlier, if you go to a big law firm, there used to be a capital markets team, there used to be a M&A team, there used to be an intellectual property team, tax team. All these big firms used to have all these practice areas. Now they call it a fancy word, they call it FRP, financial regulatory practice. And they say that this is a separate practice and requires specialized skills, and people get hired on that. So, and good thing about students like you who have doing specialized course, immediately you will have interest in that field. That's why you've chosen and come here to do LLM at a specialized field of law. So if you are interested in this, I think it is a very exciting time, as Seema ma'am said. You have to just be at it and you enjoy it, the law, and there are a lot of avenues at a career level. You can join with a market intermediate like as NCDX, NSC, BSc. You can be you can join particular like specific lit firms who only do litigation on SEBI matters. Because in SEBI you go and represent before SEBI as well. It's not like RBI or other ideas. SEBI is passes reasoned order after giving personal hearing, and entire rigmarole happens. So SEBI and its specialized tribunal, SAT, Securities Appellate Tribunal. That's at the lit side. Then there's a law firms which do this practice at a and they support other teams as well, M&A teams. If you're a listed company, M&A, there's SEBI laws involved. So you have to support them, and the certain other transactions, because of all big, all M&A transactions will have listed companies involved. So you will have that kind of focus area. You will be, and especially, of course, FRP practice is there. So all these new avenues are coming up. And thirdly, on if you can do only advisory, but that very limited people do just do advisory. So advisory again is a big, because a lot of new ideas are coming up now. Financial market also includes the alternative finance market, like you have a crypto, you have an FT. Clients will come, they will ask the question, even if there's no law, you have to say there's no law. So on that perspective, you have to understand where the law is heading, whether it will be regulated or not, how the entire structure is going. And with financial markets changing, ever changing because of the digital rule. Yesterday there was a rule on RBI on credit line of payment instruments. So I think you should not only focus on SEBI, you should always also try and look at RBI as well. Because RBI and SEBI will go together, and you want to give a client a financial market, you want to be a financial market lawyer, you need to do both SEBI and RBI together, and then that will open a lot more spaces for you, both as a advisory side or dispute side.
Thank you, sir. Now I put the same question to Shruti madam, that elaborate on the role of the legal professionals in the financial.
Sure. And maybe I'll come at it from a slightly different perspective. So, when I started my career, maybe I'm at the risk of disclosing my age, maybe 17 odd years ago, a lot of us struggled with trying to figure out what is the one place you see yourself in. Forget the practice area. Do you see yourself as a person doing advisory work? Do you see yourself as a person doing M&A? Do you see yourself as a litigator, right? And when we started out, everything was very siloed. There were just three big buckets, right? You had M&A, you had banking and finance, you had capital markets, and then maybe you had litigation. Now, as we evolved, and I think we are in that sense very lucky as a generation to have been able to, by God's grace, ride that wave of seeing the development of practice areas that gave us a flavor of each of these buckets, right? So today, as a person who is, who leads the financial regulatory enforcement practice of our firm, what works for us is that on a daily basis, we get to experience advisory, we get to experience M&A work, M&A support work for our financial services clients, we get to experience investigations and enforcement. And I think that mix, of course, I must say that mix is available in various other sectors. So for instance, we have our tax team, our pharma law team, our competition law practices, which operate in a very similar model. So not to say that the financial services industry is unique in giving you that opportunity, but definitely what this means is that this is an era of super specialization. Just like today, if you, get a rash, you don't go to your GP anymore, you find the dermatologist, right? So similarly, today, when a client has a problem, they know that super specialized practices exist, and they know that for the lack of a better phrase, you do get bang for the buck. So both from the supply side and the demand side, the financial services legal industry, I think, has never been in a better position, if you ask me, in all these years, because it is a great opportunity for people like us as lawyers to grow, whether in-house, whether in private practice. You can work for investment banks, you can work for exchanges, you can, of course, work for the regulators themselves. So that side of the market is attractive, it's young, it's interested in changing up and, kind of contributing to the evolution of the sector. And equally, you have clients who are very interested in interacting with these lawyers. Today, when a litigation or an investigation begins, a client does not want to go to a litigator who's just come home from a maritime arbitration and explain to him what is an options contract. You don't want to start from point zero when you are speaking to your advisor. For the client counsel trust to be built, the client needs to see that the counsel already has some wherewithal, has some experience, and only then do you build that trust. So I think in terms of opportunity, this is, like I said, we are living in extremely interesting times for this particular sector. And every which way, clients as well as the service providers, I think there are so many hats you can don, so many roles you can adopt. So yes, absolutely fantastic days ahead.
Nice, madam. Nicely explained the role of the legal professionals. Now I am coming to Seema, madam, with the second question. Madam, you are a Chief Regulatory Officer of NCDX, handling a lot of young professionals, many young professionals. So while inducting the young professional in your team, what quality do you see, or how, and after inducting, how you nurture their abilities to cope with the work pressure in the financial market? Seema, madam.
Yeah, I'll be very candid here. What I look for actually is attitude and passion. I believe that if you have the right attitude and you're passionate about what you're doing, the other things will fall in place. As regards, helping my teams deal with the pressure, I think my mantra there is co-opt and upskill. The team is usually made up of different kinds of people. Everybody has their own inherent skills. Some are good at Excel, some are good at, the technology aspect, some are good with words, and so on and so forth. So you have to build on each other's strengths. And that is what I try to encourage in my teams. When you work together, not only does it build camaraderie, but it also dissipates the pressure across the team, So, that would be my mantra for my team. Did I miss any part of your question?
The second, how you nurture, like these qualities you expect, but somebody who has already the part of your team or who has already joined you, how you nurture some of these qualities?
Like I said, teamwork is what you need to go for. You can't, no, you can no longer work in silos. You have to work with teams, right? So that's that's how I build my teams, and I kind of give them work such that they have no option but to work with each other. I actively, kind of discourage working in silos, and I think that helps. The other thing, of course, is, upskilling. Yeah, I mentioned about upskilling. So the world is constantly changing. The space that we have chosen to be in is constantly evolving. So you need to keep up to date. Anil mentioned about, the changing regulations, the rate at which it is changing. It's so difficult to keep up. At least you guys come in last. We need to comply with it. We need to ensure that our brokers are complying with it. So if we don't kind of keep ourselves updated, it's the end of the game for us. So that is another thing that I keep encouraging my team to do. And of course, finally, technology. You need to be tech savvy. You just can't afford to be otherwise these days. Technology has to be the key, and that is something that we have been encouraging. We have ourselves been doing those training camps, etc. But this generation, they're born tech savvy. So I think that's definitely not a challenge for them.
Yes, madam. Thank you. Now, same question I put to Anil sir. What quality do you see, sir, before inducting someone in your team? Anil sir.
People who are not aware of the firm, as in FinSec, our firm is a specialized financial market firm. As in, our name itself is FinSec, Financial Securities. That's what we do. We are a specialized firm. We formed this firm 10 years ago. So we were only looking at, earlier financial service. If you want to do securities market, people used to think capital markets. That is, you do draft DRHP, RHP, prospectus, and file. That part of life I lived for some time. But point being, for us, what we do, what people like, how we came together as a group was towards liking of the subject of law. So most of the people we took in the initial bit was all from internships and people who are interested in the field. See, it's all about this. Securities law is like, again, tax law or IP law. If you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, don't like it. Then there's no point doing it, because that's what you're going to do every day. So it's not like I could have never done tax law because I never understood, never liked it, and never can do it. So if somebody had said that you pay $1 million and do tax, how would I do it? Because I don't even know. I'm not even interested in it. I'm not opening the section itself. So from that point of view, for us, the most important thing is whether you like the subject or not, whether you're curious. If you're curious, you'll like it. See, that's why I said if you read the paper, you have questions about it. Ye kya hai, wo kya hai, what does this mean? That's enough for me, because as long as people are interested in the subject, they will dig deep. They'll find the solution. We just need to guide them whenever, little help, whatever little knowledge we have, we can share and guide them. So for us, it's always been through internships and through people who we liked, and who had that passion to work, and not in the traditional same sense of passion to like make money or passion. It's just like curiosity and interest and towards that subject, and that is what we look at. And of course, basic skill sets. Without that, you can't work. You have to know how to read the law. You have to know how to write the law. Writing is as important than reading. Most of the time, if you're a junior lawyer, when you're starting law, most of the things you do is writing, because you'll be drafting something, client facing, your partners or seniors will take care of the client, they onboard it. Then the execution starts. That's when writing is. I think more about what students should focus right now is to focus on their writing skills. I think once they develop the writing skills, communication skills, and that's what we do. After end of the internship, we ask people to write a piece of subject of their choice, topic of their choice, one pager, just to see how they write and then present that. So that's how it gives the confidence on whether they are confident enough to present their thought, whether they can write well. So the skill set wise, A, whether you like the subject, B, you should have basic writing skills, and B, whether you can make an argument that, let's say, if you present it to. So that is not that important, as long as the interest is there. That's what we look at.
Thank you, sir. Now the same question I put to Shruti madam, because madam is now the part of the team which is doing the recruitment across the NLUs. So what quality do you see while being the part of the recruitment process, and how you nurture after joining like your law firm?
Right. So I think, again, for us, of course, we are a full service firm. We are one of India's largest firms. So every team has different requirements, I must say. And every practice area also has certain things that they look for, right? There has to be one particular quality that every practice area needs in their lawyers. Insofar as I'm concerned, I think the one thing that I always focus on is actually intellectual rigor. Like for me, it is not enough if you say, okay, you may know 5 circulars, but are you interested in, working hard, interested in actually spending that time and applying your mind to that entire body of law? Because I think, and again, I don't mean to say this in any other way, and I hope I'm not coming across disrespectfully, but I think one constant challenge that a lot of us face at our level is newcomers today need to fall into place in that rigor. You need to know that actually in life there is no substitute to hard work. No matter how much manupatra you have, no matter how many tools you have to be able to do your research, the fact that you spend that time, the fact that you put pen to paper, you apply your mind to the law, you look at different conclusions, you look at the facts of a case, you come to different ways of analyzing and evaluating it, that the only way to do that is hard work. The only way to do that is intellectual rigor. And I think for us, like Anil said, a lot of internships end up being the best way to actually assess that in a person, because in an interview sometimes it's very difficult for me to figure out all of this. Practices like ours, which are much more in that sense, if I can call it a bit more textbook, right? Today, if you're doing financing, for instance, you don't need to have so many statutes in front of you. It's a templatized thing, industry practice. People do it a certain way. But these are all, in that sense, still things that require to go back to the book. They require you to be a student for life. And I personally follow that mantra as well. I am a student for life, and I think for people that I have in my team, I want them to, I want them to be perpetually curious. I want them to feel that they're always learning something new. And I think secondly, in terms of how we hone it, the one thing in my team, at least I tell everyone, is that look, there is no shame in you not knowing something. You should open your mouth, ask the question, and then build yourself from that point. Right? Because I think for a lot of us, you just feel like that the structures around you look down upon the fact that you may or may not understand something. And this is an issue that comes up very often, say in the fintech space, right? Because it's a growing area of law. And many times I think even, within us, people are hesitant to even ask each other that, can you clarify this to me? But you shouldn't. So we have a very open environment where we tell each other that, look, no question is a stupid question. The idea ultimately is to get to the right conclusion legally, a conclusion that's going to help your client be on the right side of the law. And therefore, it's important for us to constantly to be in the state of continuous learning. We actually also have in our team, fortnightly catch-ups where a couple of us take a few legal developments and actually discuss it within the team. So it just helps in bringing everybody up to speed. If there are open issues, we all know what the open issues are. If there are, points that we should be discussing, bringing to our clients' attention, etc., we do that. But every 15 days, whatever other few legal developments or interesting case law which has developed, two people would be in charge of just putting that together, and we spend an hour and a half just chatting amongst us, so that, again, that continuous learning is always there, whether formally or informally.
Yeah, thank you. And it's like you truly explained that is still, your hunger of learning and humility, and always.
I think, sir, this is a very specialized field of law. It's not like litigation dispute, like every case is new and you just prepare for the case and go. Or for like you said, the banking, and like there's a template and you want just fill in the blank, or a DRHP perspective. This is a practice that has to be research based. Like for us, we call ourselves a research firm, because half of the time we spend on policy, half of the time we spend on we do like what we call a CLE, continuous legal education, and we run a blog, we have we call something called FinSec Dialogue. Every week, every month, we have a talk on a topical issue. So I think this is very, very, especially for people who are specialists. They want to call specialists. They can't be like generic and know the law what they knew of 1 year back and just remain a specialist. So for us, we are not general corporate lawyers. We are specialist lawyers, so we have to be on the toes, and the culture of the organization also has to be of the learning process. I learned from my first year, and the first years learn from us, because nobody knows everything in this world, and nobody claims also.
Yes, sir. True, sir. So now my next question is to Seema madam. Many students in the previous webinars, they have raised the concern that, what is the post-COVID-19, whether the financial market or our securities market is in the recovery mode, and in the sense that what would be the requirements for the legal professionals or other professionals in the securities market. So, madam.
Well, while the entire country did see some challenging times during the second wave, even the first and second wave of COVID-19, well, the securities market actually had a different story to tell. On the supply side, if you see, the rapid digital transformation and the adoption of technology during the lockdown, especially, proved to be a boon for the markets. On one side, the tech startups mushroomed, and some witnessed such phenomenal growth. At least 15 of them, I remember, saw listings. So that was on the supply side. And on the demand side, the adoption of technology also helped increase the retail participation in the markets. We saw some unprecedented increase in retail participation, something that the security markets have been trying for over 2 decades. I think they got much more in this last 2 years than they have in last 2 decades. So, this period, of course, when you have that kind of unprecedented growth, it showed on the securities market, right? You could see the Nifty going up and up and up. But whenever you have these kind of booms in the market, that's when the fraudsters become active. So you also saw, unfortunately, many market integrity breaches, many broker defaults. It all goes hand in hand. So again, this is where the lawyers come in. The other area that has been that has taken a front seat during lockdown is the cyber security, right? A changing scenario required the regulations to keep pace. So that is again, one place where we are seeing a lot of rule making happening, a lot of regulations coming in place, compliances, enforcements happening. So yeah. There is a slight change in the kind of participation that we are seeing in the market. You to keep pace with the industry, and I don't think the securities market has faced any lull. In the commodity space, yes, we did feel the brunt of the, especially in the agri commodity space, because we are connected with the physical markets. We did feel the brunt of the lockdown. But if you look at overall securities market space, well, it's been a real good story there. So the securities market in all have kind of remained ring fenced from this COVID-19 effects. Touch wood.
So now I put the same question to Anil sir. How do you see the now economy is about to get recovered? So how do you see the requirements of the legal professions, Anil sir?
I don't think COVID has had any impact. COVID actually, but there are a lot more opportunities was created because of COVID for financial sector, because of fintech. Now people understood technology is hand in hand, so a lot of more fintech can. I know people, because I'm not in that market, but people who join, a lot of people join startups like if you see now, like the biggest broker is what? Zero, the upstocks who are what? 5-year, 10-year-old ones. We have taken over the ICICI and the other Axis of the world, who are the biggest ones. For a long time, they've been working on generation. So in other spaces also, in fintech, because of the emergence of fintech, a lot more career opportunities are actually created in legal space as well. If in technology space, I hear that the numbers increased like 3 times, 4 times. Everybody make more money and employment is so much. I'm not in that space of legal looking for jobs in in-house firms, but I'm sure legal guys also have made a killing, and there are a lot of people who are doing the churns and joining all this fintech space from the traditional places, and I'm sure freshers also they'll be hiring. So actually, a lot more opportunities have been created during the COVID, not otherwise. Actually, now the problem would be different. Now we are post-COVID world, where now there is a threat of recession, threat of inflation hike, and then interest rate hike, and then you now see startups now firing people. I think that we are now into the second cycle of it, which is slightly more troubling than the earlier, which was for humanity being bad, but for the securities market professionals, it was great because everybody did business last 2 years as well. And the traders and the market people, at least, were happy for the first 2 years. So from that point of view, I don't see too much of an issue on COVID, but it's an economy. Again, you're part of the economy. Financial markets are more like what do you call the elasticity is much more, because the moment you have a like a downturn, there'll be like, at least in the both that cap markets will go down, IPOs will go down, the hiring will go down. The fintech firms are laying off people, so there'll be layoffs there as well. So there'll be less demand for. If the markets are good, there's always more demand. If the markets are slightly down, the demand will definitely go down. So you are, as financial market professional, you should be aware that your either being employability or transferability of a job from X to Y depends a lot more on financial markets. So right now there may be a slightly tougher time ahead of us from a securities market professional as a concern. So I think it's for lifetime. Again, the market will improve next year, and then again it will go. So you should not bother about as lawyers. I think what is in our hands is in our hands, that we should control about upskilling, as you always say, upskilling. As I think this world I have been practicing for 16 years. I have understood that if you have merit, you will always come up. And so if you work at it, if you like the subject, you work on it and be passionate or whatever, interested in that field for a long period. Of course, it doesn't matter whether it's a downturn or a boom, you will always have a career ahead of you.
Yeah.
Anil, even during the downturn, MIs will still be hiring.
Yeah. To hire like the very few people, and that also the brightest of the lot. So average people like us have a lot of problems then.
Yeah. So as Seema ma'am said that it's the other way around in the securities market, the requirements. And so I put the same question in a different language to Shruti madam, since she is already in the process of recruitment for the trilegal across the country. So when the time is good or time is bad, like in either way, the role of advocate will be there, whether the time is good or time is bad. So either it is consultancy or it is litigation. Something should be there. But in your firm, ma'am, how do you see the change, like COVID-19 and post-COVID, with respect to the recruitment of the young legal professionals?
So I think two parts. One is as a firm as a whole, and secondly, of course, securities market
Security.
work
Yes.
particularly. So touch wood, I think as a firm, 2020 and 2021 were incidentally one of our best years as a firm. Across all practices, even in terms of the people, that their performances, the overall profitability. We saw a lot of good work come in on all across all sectors. I don't think COVID in that sense has had an impact on at least most law firms in the country for sure. Insofar as securities market is concerned, I think there's one distinction I would want to bring to the table is that the movement of the market is not the right barometer to look at the securities market per se. I don't know whether the question that came to you had that in mind, because they are not two sides of the same coin. Today, if you are looking at whether it is a bull market or a bear market or a volatile market and wondering about your future as a securities market practitioner, you're not looking at it through the right lens, right? That is not the right metric to assess your future as a legal professional in this setup. They are two completely different things. Today, whether people make money, whether people lose money, that is the nature of the beast. That is the nature of the market. That does not dictate how we as professionals perform in that particular market. Our growth is dictated by very different parameters. Our growth is dictated by, for instance, how active our own regulators are, right? How hands-on are they in terms of lawmaking, in terms of enforcement? How are market participants being able to adapt to the laws and to the enforcement that the regulator is bringing in? How are our courts and tribunals then looking at the adapting of each of our clients or each of the market players? And how is all of that getting assimilated into the larger ecosystem? So the regulators, the regulated, and the entities like the courts and the infrastructure which actually oversees the conduct of both the regulators and the regulated in that sense, all these three pieces come together to assess the role of the securities market. And when I say the entities which come together, it would also cover MIIs, like Seema ma'am's rightly mentioned, where the MIIs are also equally responsible and an important feature in the lawmaking, law dispensation, and the law enforcement piece. So these are the, I would actually request the people hearing in today to understand and look at their future basis these metrics. Don't open the newspaper and see the ticker at 3:30 and figure out whether you want to do this work or not. That is not only short-termism, that's actually a completely incorrect way of looking at it. So don't do that. I think you should look at where you fit into this sector basis your interest, basis whether this is the kind of law that appeals to you. And always remember that this is a marathon, this is not a 100 meters race. You have to take something knowing that you can be your authentic self in this area of work. It appeals to you. You see yourself doing this for a long time, because मतलब एक साल के लिए तो कोई कुछ भी कर सकता है, right? But you have to see yourself in this in the medium term or the long term. That's how you look at building a career in this space.
Yeah. So thank you, madam, for answering it correctly, nicely. So now the next question, many of the students they have asked in the previous webinars, that how a specialized course like ours, LLM in investment and securities law, where we focus more on the different regulations, securities market regulations, certifications, 4 certifications are mandated by our course. So my question is to Seema ma'am, how do you see the specialized course like LLM in securities, investment and securities law is going to help the legal professionals? Seema madam.
Time and again we've discussed during this on this panel that securities market is a niche space, and as such till recently you had no choice but to pick up the nuances of the game on the job, which means that you learned as you experienced different situations, right? But a specialized course of LLM in investment and securities market changes that. It changes the paradigm altogether. You are now, I think you are already equipped to deliver, which of course it means that you have a head start. So I think these people are much better off than the generalists who are coming into this space.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, madam. And now I put the same question to Anil sir. Since Anil sir did his LLM on the same subject from Harvard, in India we did not have this subject, and recently, like just 1 year before, this like SEBI has our director, previous director Mohanty sir, conceptualized this, and we have started this program. So how do you see this course, sir, Anil sir?
No, very, very nice. I think for all students, I think the first threshold they must have crossed because they like the subject. Otherwise, why would you come and do a 1 year? I think once you are interested, I think 1 year what you're getting, it's a very, very great opportunity to learn the academics of it. I think as a lawyer, you have to have a very good base, because nobody in law school can teach you, like at least for our school, SEBI Act and what is takeover, what is insider, what is FQTP regulations, all those things, LODR, they would no clue. So at least what framework what you should know is what is how SEBI works, what is SEBI Act, understand SEBI Act, understand how SCRA, what are the other main what is the basket of legislation, and then what are delegated legislation, what regular. Basically, understand the conceptual bit of what are the powers SEBI has, how do they enforce, and how does it work, what are different departments SEBI has. Understand the regulator, understand their powers, understand the law, because once you come on that side, mostly if you are private practitioner, you'll be against SEBI, like all of us are. So from that point of view, you need to understand the beast you're going to fight. So you have to understand the powers they have. So from that point of view, as you should get the academics very, very properly. Don't think about I will do 10 internships in 1 month, 1 year, and I'll get a lot of experience. I think experience you can learn on the job, but academic, nobody will have to give you time to go through the act and go through the provisions, go through. If you have curiosity, go dig deep, understand. I think the structure, focus on academics. That's what I would say that, because then you will be better shaped to take your career the way you want to in the security space. You can join MII, you can join law firm, you can join especially lit firm, you can join a fintech, you can join anything. That is a job. I always differentiate job is different from a career. Career is a long term, jobs keep changing, but career keeps on. Both me and Shruti and my most have changed hats in different parts of life, but they're essentially doing the same thing for some period of time. So point being that you can keep changing jobs, but if you like a career and it's the starting point, keep at it. If your basics are strong, it will hold you like very, very high regard in later part of life. So I think get your basics right. That's what this course offers you. That's what you should concentrate on.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. And now I put the same question to Shruti ma'am, that how, because in NLUs also, I was teaching in NLU before joining this college. So mostly it's the company law, mostly it's the provisions of company law, that to the memorandum, articles, director, little bit of merger acquisitions without going into details and winding up. And the students are actually not focusing even on the capital, how the issue of capital will take place. Prospectus, they are aware, but what are the insights, how to make the prospectus, submit the prospectus, the public issue process, they are not aware. So any problem related to funding and listing, generally the advocates, like in the national law universities also, not being covered in detail. So how do you see this, like our LLM program, where we have like detailed, we cover all these things in detail, how to raise the fund, how to do the listing, what are the problems, how to do the compliances, and then if some litigation is there, how to participate in litigation. So all the regulations in detail. So how do you see this program of LLM in investment and securities law, madam?
I'm going to try to answer this question from a slightly personal standpoint. So, I think there is, most people assume that people who, have ended up working in some of the larger firms in the country have all, done have fancy degrees, done this and that. No, I think we're all the beneficiaries of a lot of luck and choice that came our way at the right time. And incidentally, most of us, of my generation, whether we are from, Bangalore, Calcutta, any of those colleges, we actually never ended up doing an LLM. And I think for us, it was largely a financial choice, because I think at that stage, you got a job in college, you want to go ahead with it. Nobody wants to burden their parents anymore. You want to just get started and, move become independent, right? Everybody has that mindset. But I think as we have all grown, and this is a conversation me and my friends, from college have all the time, is all of us have that one longing. And Anil, I felt very jealous when I heard that you've gone to Harvard for LLM, because that has been a long standing dream of mine to do an LLM. And it's just that at that age you're like, how will you do it, how will you pay for it? You have so many kind of concerns and so many hesitations, which as you age, they become regrets. And at our age, we didn't have the opportunities that you have with an NISM. These courses were not available. You didn't have the ability to do an LLM anywhere else. And now, of course, matlab your engine is started and every day the work is going on. So perhaps for at least us, we can't turn back time, but I would strongly encourage all of you to be focused on LLMs like this, especially on a specialized course, which opens your mind up to so many things. I think stuff that we learned on the job, you are learning today in a classroom, which makes a big difference, because we learned by running behind our bosses, by burning the midnight oil, which, and sometimes we're making mistakes, and you all have the benefit of not doing all of that, and learning this from people who've had that experience. Even today in some of the larger in the NLUs, for instance, many of these courses, they're not done in the form of a separate LLM like you all have. They are sporadic credit courses which are done by external people only. So for instance, I've been taking a few courses at Jindal, etc., but those are again one-off courses. They are not structured throughout like a program the way you all have it. So I think no, there's no better opportunity. Just jump at it.
So thank you, ma'am. Now, one major concern of the students, actually, Seema madam, in BA LLB, there are some of the students who are studying the history, sociology, other subjects, English, or some other subjects, even psychology. So there are universities which are offering BA LLB in the arts discipline. There are universities which are offering in the science, BSc LLB. So there they are studying physics, chemistry, mathematics, along with the law subject. And there are universities, one university which has started BTech LLB. So it's the engineering and law, they are combining. So now their consistent query is that how easy or how difficult it is, to cope with the different jargons of the financial market, securities market regulations, regulatory jurisprudence, and then its interpretation. So how easy or how difficult it is for those who have not studied financial statement, those who are not aware, and suddenly we are teaching them how to interpret and then how to apply the law. So how easy or how difficult it is?
So see, easy or difficult, it will depend on your interest. If you're inclined towards financial markets, and I would like to believe that you are, having chosen this course, you will pick up the concepts in no time. I'll give you my example. Back in my time, and I think Shruti alluded to something like this, one really did not choose a career. Okay, of course, engineering and medicine was an exception, but for the rest of us, the career chooses. So I did not choose securities space. It was serendipity. My specialization is in marketing, and from marketing of financial services, I gravitated towards co-finance. And now for last 25 years, I've been working in stock exchange. So, if I can do it, you all can too. The key is to enjoy what you do. And I think the rest will follow. Like they say, find out what you like doing best and get somebody to pay you for it.
So thank you, ma'am, for nicely answering. I put the same question to Anil, sir.
Yeah, I think it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, because sir, most national law universities are still offering BLLB. So they are like psychology, sociology, political science. Those are the subjects. So coming directly to the securities market regulations, issue of capital, funding, listing. So how easy or how difficult it is? You must be handling some of the juniors who have done their BLLB.
I don't think so. SAB for 5-year course, BA, nobody knows that. I don't even remember doing psychology and whatever English and whatever I did. So it doesn't matter. I don't think you are primarily doing a law course. You know what you're getting into. You're not getting into engineering when you're doing an LLB, BTech LLB or what. So you know your core subject, you know your core interest area. And see, 3 year or 5 year law school, whatever you do, the basic law degree, teaches somebody a skill set to research, find an answer. That skill set is required as a lawyer, no matter what practice you do. That first you become a lawyer, and the 5-year or 3-year you become a lawyer, you are trained to do something. Otherwise, it's English. Anybody can read English law and say that this is what it means. The confidence to say what it means is because you know what is the backing, how do you read in law, how do you interpret, how do you get a precedent, or whatever. That structure of giving a solid answer by backing is what law school or 3-year law college gives you, that skill set. And now the 1-year skill set that you're going to get is a different skill set, specialized skill set for a particular field of law. And then also the basic skill set is still the same, that you research. If you give them pose a question, you go back to the drawing board, right from who's the authority, SEBI Act. SEBI Act gives the power to SEBI. Then who comes? What is the regulation? SEBI has found the regulation. Go to the regulation. There's basic law for election dispute. You'll go to election commission. Then how did the election commission get the power? Constitutional power. See the constitution. So this is basic research level. Will go for as a lawyer will remain the same. Then it's the subject of area of preference. And Simon says that you can come from anywhere and into any background and anything. And if you have BTech, you may have some special skills and you understand technology better. There may be an additional advantage to you. I don't see that as a disadvantage.
Thank you, sir. Now I put the same question to Shruti, madam, because most of the NLUs are still, that is the common concern of the most of the students. Sir, we have not studied the company law in detail. We have not studied the bankruptcy. We have not studied others. Rather, we are more comfortable in CPC, CRPC, constitution, jurisprudence. So how easy or how difficult it is, and also in future, what is the future prospect? Like we are more comfortable with the constitution, with the administrative law.
So that happened to us, yeah. So I'll tell you that happened to us also. You know, when we came out of law schools, I was very comfortable with the constitution. I could close my eyes and tell you which article was where. But with company law, we struggled in the first. But that doesn't matter, because I think what you learn is, like Anil rightly said, you learn a skill. Right? You learn how to look at a piece of paper, apply your mind to it logically and dispassionately, and come to a conclusion. So once you pick that skill up, you can do that for any body of law. I don't think you need to worry about whether that subject has been taught to you. I think as long as you've learned the skill of being able to apply yourself like a lawyer, you can apply yourself to any of those. And I think programs like this actually help you bridge that gap, if at all you see it as a gap. I certainly don't see it as one. I myself came from a background where, you know, I was just living in a world of jurisprudence and constitutional law and, you know, all the public law statutes. We were not exposed to commercial public laws like, you know, different regulatory, statutes that you have today. But that's fine. That's absolutely fine. I think we see new recruits in our firm also going through the same. And, you know, as when you start working, I think people are always there to guide you through the journey. There are courses like this to help you through that as well.
Yeah. So thank you, ma'am. Thank all the panelists. Now is the students' question. You can ask any question from the panelists. Students, if you have any question, I have already, you know, compiled your questions and tried my best to, you know, ask from the panelists. But if you have any question, you can ask. You can just type, and I will just, you know, put it to the panelist. Subhangi?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, somebody has. What should a fresher know about securities law? So Seema madam, what a new person should know about securities law?
That's why I'm joining the course, right?
You should know something, and you should say that I know this thing. And then if I ask you something, you should know that basic of it. That's not it. You cannot know. Nobody can know everything. You just need to have some interest, then you'll know something. And whatever you know, you should know a little better than others. That's all.
Shruti madam, what
I
a person
you should know where to find what we need you to find. I think, you know, of course, courses like this, like Seema ma'am rightly said, are really telling you what you need to know. But it's very important for you to know where to look for things, you know. For instance, if somebody's asking you a particular issue and you need to find a SEBI circular, you should also know that, look, there could be exchange circulars on the same topic. Things like that. You need to have your methodology in line when you start working. You're not expected to become an encyclopedia, but yes, the methodology to get from point A to point B is something that you should know, and you should be keen to hone that skill.
Yes. So any any other question, because most of their questions based on our previous webinar experience, I have already put forward, and I'm sure that the students must have got the answers of all those queries and all those questions. But if any, okay, after doing LLM, if one wants to pursue academics, will it the LLM? Yes, it is UGC. It's a MLLU. The degree will be given by Maharashtra National Law University. So yes, you are eligible, subject to clearing your UGC NET examination. On doing CS executive will LLM. Yes, I think the most of the papers of the company secretaries. One of the paper is the securities laws and compliances. Another paper is corporate funding and listing. So many papers are already you are studying. So it's always positive, and rather you will be also knowing regulatory jurisprudence. You will be also knowing the different regulations, different interpretation of regulations, thought processes, Harvard School, Chicago School, and then research. So definitely it's a added advantage. So any other question related to career, because these are like other on other aspect. So any other question if you have, which is like for the panelists, not for the professors. So please ask, or yeah.
Is the scope of work as a securities lawyer lean more towards litigation or
Corporate? Yeah.
I think that Shruti correctly said. As in, now you can do all three of it. As in, we do all three. We do disputes, we do advisory, we help in transactions. So once you pick up a field of law, you can do everything in that. So
correct, yeah, and commercially sensible for you to be doing all three. You don't want a situation where you're exposed to only one type of work in one particular practice area. That is not that's literally putting all your eggs in one basket. So yeah, you have the scope to diversify as you should.
So I think the time, as I already told in the beginning, we will strictly abide by the time. So I thank all the three panelists for joining us on such a short notice, because I just said 2-3 days, and you agreed, and you also for sparing your valuable time and answering to the query of the students. So I thank Seema madam for being with us today, and for whenever we are inviting, you are coming to us. So I just thank you, madam, and also NCDX to provide you time so that you can join. So you and your NCDX, I thank also the NCDX, and I also thank Anil sir, who is always like helping NISM and also helping our students in taking the lectures, guiding them, mentoring them. And I also thank the Shruti Rajan madam, who is now the part of our visiting faculty. Last year also she mentored our student, and this year also I think she is going to mentor some of the students, take some lectures, and engage herself more with the NISM. So I thank all the three panelists.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So students may remain there, panelists may leave. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Sahil sir? Yeah.
Yeah, Nisha, I'm there.
Yeah. So now I think we have done with our formal session, the career in the securities market for the legal professionals. Now, if you have any query related to the examination or the placement, you please go ahead.
So before they have a query, I think I just want to give a background to all of you. What was the intention of a regulator to start this course? I think Rajesh did mention about it somewhere in his speech. Because we as a regulator realize that many lawyers who appear before us, they do not have very strong knowledge about securities laws. Because as Panelist was saying that there was no specialization in the past, and you people are fortunate to have getting specialization in the area of securities laws. So therefore, this intention of launching a specific program specifically on securities laws was well thought of SEBI and NISM together to make a good capacity in the area of securities market, where people have knowledge about securities laws, because we understand the securities market is pretty technical. And yes, it is, because every day we also learn new things, various new laws, and the pace at which we keeps changing our laws We keep issuing our circulars. I do understand it's very difficult to keep pace with but the market intermediaries, but yes, we need people to help the market intermediaries. Therefore, this course has been launched, and with that intention, and we have seen a good amount of interest by the students. This being the second year of our course, and of course, you guys are going to be the third batch of this course, and we are very proud to say that we have placed students who have opted for placement last year. And so with this year also we have started our placement, and we started with a very positive note, and currently the placement drive is going on. So if in case you have any specific question related to placement, yes, we do take care of placement. We do ensure that we provide all possible assistance in the placement. The comfort what NISM has in the placement is that we know industry, who hires securities lawyers and who deals with security laws day in, day out. So we do approach them, we do write to them about this course, and we are able to reach out to them to explain what is being taught to our students, and what capacity they have, and what are the curriculum our faculty member, Rajesh being director there, is designed to see to it the acceptability in the industry. So all these factors being taken together, we started dialogue with the market players and recruiters, and it has paid results also to us by way of our placements. So don't worry about it. Come with a free mind, take up this course, learn, and rest of the thing leave it to us. We'll place you. Don't worry.
Yeah. So thank you, sir. And now I think one of the question is related to examination. Yes, it will be an online test. Can you attend at your home? Yes, you can attend at your home. Also, one demo will be arranged by our marketing team. I think Suvangi or IT team will arrange one demo for you. And yes, you are eligible for the appearing in the UGC NET examination. Just to inform you, our 1 or 2 students of first batch, they have cleared the UGC NET examination, and both of them are working as a lecturer, assistant lecturer with the respective university. So yes, it's not like this university, any university, it's a recognized UGC 1-year LLM program, so you are eligible.
I could see one question which says, what is the scope of securities market practice in mergers and acquisition and advisory? Yes, in fact, this is the biggest area where the securities lawyers are required. And let me also share the information that this is a highly paid job also, because here the maximum money comes to you. How does it operate? Let me see explain to you from the regulator's point of view. The merchant bankers or the investment bankers do come forward, they interact with corporates, they become the leaders. However, when it comes to any litigation or a legal angle, they rely on people like you. They take your advice, they take your guidance, and without your go ahead, they don't move ahead. So for every document, they take your signature, they take your approval. So for that, they require people who are experienced. So there are huge amount of practice, and all the corporate lawyers are making good money in this area. So even if you choose to not to be get into other areas, this itself is a very big area with the amount of India as such growing globally, and many mergers are happening not only domestic, even internationally. Yes, of course, the huge practice opportunity available here in the area of merger and acquisition for sure.
So on 10th of July, the examination will be there. The time and other details will be informed to you through the mail and through the demo. Before the 10th of July, one demo will take place, and there the information will be given to you. The current affairs, you need to prepare all the important information related to the economic development and what are the regulatory developments also. If there are changes related to the RBI Act, RBI Circular, RBI Master Circular, or any merger, any acquisition, any development related to the development of economy, social development, or any other related development, that can be the part of the current affairs. Yeah. So any other question? If you have any other question, please go ahead, either related to examination or the placement.
So let me add one more thing from my side itself. So when we talk of the placement here, we look for arrange placement for you in the various market participants, be it stock exchanges. The stock exchanges have the legal department, they have the committee of arbitrators, then they have a investor services cell where they require legal professionals. Then we have a chief regulatory officer, which is a very important officer and which are expected to know legal security laws for sure. So that could be your target where you should reach. The CRO is very important, KMP of stock exchange. Similarly, we have a legal professional required in all financial market intermediaries because they have to face a lot of litigation from the investors or the clients they are serving. Plus, we also have last year we got some queries from new startups also because they want to start new ventures. They want to ensure what is the legal setup requirement, be it domestically or also internationally also. Along with that, we also have touch base with various law firms who practice in securities markets. And we have many of them are faculty, visiting faculty members, and they come and talk to teach our students also. And that's how they may acclimatize all of you about the environment of securities markets practice. And let me tell you, the amount of show cause notices and orders we pass by SEBI, that it sure shows a lot of work for securities market practitioners for sure. Yeah.
So yes, you have to study both, not or. Securities law and all the detail. Firstly, the foundation. You need to know about the market in the first trimester. What is the securities market, the ecosystem, who are the players? So what is the market, whether it is the equity market, derivative market, intermediary, then the market infrastructure institution in detail, along with the little bit of analyzing the financial statement, little bit of economics applicable to the securities market. Then in the second trimester, we will tell you about the basic 3 laws, SEBI Act, Depository Act, Securities Contract Regulation Act, and regulation related to issuer and intermediary. And then in the third trimester, we will take you to the other set of regulations like SAST, insider trading, unfair trade practices, and other regulations. And also the related other investment laws like FEMA Act, FEMA regulations, and also the FDI policy, joint venture, foreign collaboration. And IBC is a separate paper. IBC is a separate paper in the third trimester. So coming to the sectional cutoff time, no, there is no sectional cutoff time. How are we supposed to prepare for the interview? The same manner, the whatever subject knowledge, whether it is the constitution, whether it is the jurisprudence, whether it is the company law, whether it is the contract, whether it is the current affairs, you are supposed to prepare firstly from the angle of information that you must be knowing the provisions of the law. What is the intent or content of the law? Then the interpretation made by the, in the case of the, let us say, constitution by the Supreme Court, by the High Court. So that you need to know. First is the knowledge. Second is the, if a situation is given to you, how would you apply the knowledge into the given situation? That is for the interview. The cutoff, in the sense, it will be the top 150. It's already told the top 180 or 150 we will select on the basis of the entrance examination. No. For entrance examination, all the 5 subjects are already identified. One is the constitution, second is the jurisprudence, third is the contract, fourth is the company, and fifth is the current affairs. Company law, the weightage is double, that is the 40 marks. The rest other 4 subjects, the weightage is of just 20 marks. So you need to focus more on the company law for the entrance examination, not IBC or security law. So any other question related to either? Yes, 1 month internship is the part of the LLM program. And generally our placement team, our internship and placement team, the students have a committee, and also we have a system, the placement team. So that team will help you in getting the internship. So 1 month internship is must, and it is also linked to mostly the subject that we are offering. Like you may join a market infrastructure institution like NSE, BSE, or the like NCDX, or some intermediary, or some law firm who are handling the cases related to the securities market. So that is like 1 month internship is the part. Time duration is already given, 2 hours, 120 question is already circulated, I think. Any other question related to either the examination or internship placement? If you have, please ask. When will be the demo examination? I think our the marketing team will let you know, but just before the examination. So Subhangi, when it is likely to be arranged?
So we'll let them know, sir.
Okay, so they will
We'll
let you know.
inform them.
No, sample paper cannot be provided. You can prepare, as I already, last webinar I told you, firstly read out the concepts, 5 subjects, and try to solve the examination questions of the PG CLAT examination. All NLUs are conducting the PG examination, the CLAT examination. So you can solve the practice set there from any guide, any source which is available in the market of the question related to the constitution, jurisprudence, contract. Company law is not there. So for company law, you need to prepare it separately. And current affairs, it is also the part of the CLAT exam. No, there is no negative marking. There will not be any negative marking. So any other question related to your examination or entrance examination or internship placement? You please.
Okay, I think nobody has any question, Rajesh. You can wind up.
Yeah. So thank you all for joining this webinar. I thank all the persons, all the participants who have joined this webinar today. And for any further question, if you have, you can write to our LLM@NISM.ac.in, where our marketing department will reply you. And for any academic question, again, you can the numbers are given. You can contact. So that is already there. And as I already told you in the beginning, that you can also simply type NISM LLM and go to Google. You will find multiple videos which you can access for any related query. So thank you all for attending, and I wish all the best for your examination or your entrance examination. So stay safe. Bye, and thank you, Sahil sir.
Yes, all the best to all of you, and see all of you in NISM soon.
Yeah. So thank you.
Bye-bye.